Welcome back to another episode of Humans Are Whack. First off, a huge shout out to everyone who's been watching, commenting, and sharing. The Humans Are Whack family is growing every single day, and it's incredible to see how far this community reaches across countries and time zones. We're still growing, so if you enjoy these stories, help us out by sharing our videos with your friends and family. It really helps more people discover just how strange and unpredictable humans can be. If you're new here, welcome. This is the show where we explore the strangest, most ridiculous, and downright unbelievable things humans have ever done. Before we jump in, tell us in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is right now, because we love seeing how far this madness travels. Now, on our first story for today. It's one that perfectly captures how love can make people do some truly unbelievable things. The man who robbed a bank just to impress his girlfriend. This is the story of a 33-year-old man from Texas named James Allen, who decided that the best way to win back his ex-girlfriend was to rob a bank. He didn't do it for money. He actually didn't even try to keep the cash. His logic? He told police he wanted to show her he could be dangerous. So he walks into a small-town bank, hands the teller a note demanding money, and calmly walks out, leaving every possible clue behind, including his fingerprints, car, and even his real ID. Within hours, he's arrested, and when asked why, he tells officers it was all for love. Needless to say, his ex wasn't impressed. In fact, she reportedly said, "That's the dumbest thing anyone's ever done for me." It's almost poetic, a man risking years in prison to prove how far he'd go, and proving only that love really can make humans whack. On our second story for today, it's one that shows just how far heartbreak can push someone into pure delusion. The woman who faked her own wedding to make her ex jealous. Meet Sarah, a 29-year-old woman from Germany who took revenge on her ex-boyfriend to a level that belongs in a movie. A very bad one. After getting dumped, she wanted him to feel like he'd made the biggest mistake of his life. But instead of moving on like most people, she went all in, renting a wedding dress, hiring a photographer, booking a venue, and even asking a male friend to pretend to be her groom. She staged an entire fake wedding. Photos, decorations, champagne, smiling guests, all for Instagram. She uploaded the pictures with captions like, "I finally found the one," and "happily ever after." And of course, her ex saw them. At first, it worked. He reportedly texted her, confused and emotional. But the internet doesn't forget, and within days, people started noticing something was off. The groom was tagged in other posts, clearly not her husband, and someone even found out the venue hadn't hosted any weddings that day. Her whole plan unraveled faster than the fake bouquet she tossed for photos. And when she admitted it, she said she just wanted him to feel what she felt. Instead, she became a viral example of what not to do after a breakup. Love makes people do strange things. But staging a full wedding for an audience of one, that's not romance. That's a public service announcement on how humans are truly, undeniably whack. On our third story for today, it's one that perfectly captures how love can turn passion into pure, irreversible regret. The guy who tattooed his girlfriend's name on his face after 1 week of dating. Meet Lizia and Roslyn, a couple whose love story went viral for all the wrong reasons. Roslyn, a tattoo artist from Russia, met Lizia online. Within 1 week of talking, they decided they were soulmates. Not after months, not even a few dates. Just 7 days. But Roslyn wanted to prove his love in a way that could never fade. So he tattooed Lizia's name in giant black letters across his entire face. Forehead, cheeks, and jawline. It wasn't a small symbol or a subtle mark. It looked like a billboard of obsession. He proudly posted pictures online, calling her the love of his life. The internet went wild. Some called it romantic. Others called it insanity. Then, a few months later, the relationship ended. Lizia moved on. Roslyn, however, couldn't. not when every mirror reminded him of what he'd done. He tried covering the tattoo, even laser removal, but the marks stayed. In interviews, he admitted, "It wasn't love, it was madness." And that's the thing about love. When it's real, it grows quietly. But when it's forced, it burns too bright, too fast, and leaves scars, sometimes literal ones. So if you're thinking of proving your love with a tattoo after a week, maybe just start with dinner first. Because once again, humans really are whack. On our fourth story for today, it's a wild tale of deception, desperation, and the kind of love that drives people to rewrite reality itself. The man who faked being a doctor to impress the woman he loved. Meet Jean-Claude Rahman, a seemingly successful, well-respected man in France. For nearly 2 decades, everyone around him believed he was a brilliant doctor working for the World Health Organization. He dressed the part. He talked the part. He even carried a doctor's bag and told stories of international research trips. His wife adored him, his friends admired him, and his parents were proud. But here's the shocking truth. Jean-Claude was never a doctor. He had never even graduated from medical school. The entire thing was a lie. For 18 years, he maintained this elaborate charade, living off money he scammed from family and friends, pretending it was from his doctor's salary. Every day, he'd dress for work, drive to the WHO parking lot, and spend hours sitting in his car or wandering forests to kill time before heading home. It was a performance, a daily theater of lies, all to keep up the illusion of success for the woman he loved and the world he feared disappointing. But as with all lies, it started to crumble. When his wife began to suspect something was off, the pressure became unbearable. Instead of confessing, Jean-Claude made an unthinkable choice. He murdered his wife, children, and parents, then tried to take his own life. He survived, and his web of lies finally came to light. His story became a symbol of how far some people will go to be seen as worthy of love, even if it means living a lie so massive it consumes everything. It's one of the darkest, love-driven deceptions in human history, a reminder that sometimes the need to be loved can become more dangerous than hate itself. Because as we've seen time and again, humans will do anything for love, even if it destroys them. On our fifth story for today, it's one of the most bizarre love stories ever told, not between two people, but between a woman and a monument. The woman who married the Eiffel Tower. Her name is Erika Eiffel, and yes, that last name is no coincidence. In 2007, she legally married the Eiffel Tower in a private ceremony witnessed by a handful of friends and supporters. Now, to most of us, that sounds like satire. But for Erika, it was deadly serious. She identified as an objectum sexual, someone who experiences romantic and emotional attraction to inanimate objects. And for her, the Eiffel Tower wasn't just metal and bolts. It was love. She claimed she felt an emotional and spiritual connection to the structure, describing it as warm, supportive, and faithful. Before her marriage to the tower, she had reportedly been in relationships with other objects, including a bow she used for archery, which she said helped her win world championships. The Eiffel Tower, though, was different. She said it spoke to her heart, like no person ever had. To outsiders, it became a global headline, a mix of fascination, disbelief, and mockery. But behind the strangeness was something deeper. The story of a woman who felt emotionally safer with objects than with humans. Psychologists later used her case to study a condition known as objectophilia, a rare phenomenon where people form deep attachments to inanimate things. And while many dismissed it as delusion, Erika defended her love as real. She said, "People marry for all kinds of reasons. Mine just happens to be a little different." She even took her partner's name, becoming officially known as Erika La Tour Eiffel. It's easy to laugh at stories like this, but it also forces a strange question. In a world where love comes in so many shapes, where's the line between unusual and unacceptable? Because maybe, for Erika, the Eiffel Tower wasn't just an object. Maybe it was the only thing in her world that never let her down. On our sixth story for today, it's a story that sounds like science fiction until you realize it really happened. The man who built a robot girlfriend because real women were too complicated. His name was Zheng Jiejia, a Chinese engineer and artificial intelligence expert. After years of failed relationships and what he called emotional disappointment, he decided he'd had enough of heartbreak and built a girlfriend instead. Yes, literally built one. Her name was Ying, a life-sized robot powered by basic AI. Zheng programmed her to speak simple phrases, recognize his face, and even respond when he came home from work. She couldn't walk or move on her own, but he didn't seem to mind. Zheng would dress her, carry her around the house, and post photos online showing them eating dinner together, watching TV, and even taking walks, with him pushing her in a stroller. But the story didn't stop there. In 2017, Zheng held a wedding ceremony, complete with guests, decorations, and a bridal gown. He married his robot. His friends played along, and he reportedly said the ceremony was his way of expressing hope that humans and AI could one day coexist in harmony. Of course, the internet went wild. Some called him lonely, others called him brilliant. But deep down, it spoke to something a lot more human: our growing attachment to technology. Think about it. We already talk to Siri, Alexa, and chatbots. We rely on machines for companionship, validation, even love. Zheng just took that idea to its extreme. Psychologists call it synthetic intimacy, the emotional comfort people find in machines that can't reject, hurt, or judge them. And as AI evolves, that comfort might only grow stronger. Still, you have to wonder, did Zheng build love, or did he just program an illusion of it? Because if you can create the perfect partner, someone who never argues, never leaves, never disappoints, is that love or loneliness disguised as innovation? One thing's for sure, in the world of love and logic, humans are still the wackest engineers of all. On our seventh story for today, it's a story that sits somewhere between heartbreak and pure insanity. The man who tattooed his ex's name on his face after one date. His name was Lizia Tamanians, a tattoo artist from Russia who met a woman named Lizia online. They chatted for a day, met in person the next, and by the end of that single date, she agreed to let him tattoo her name, in giant letters, across his face. You heard that right. After one date, the tattoo covered his entire cheek, written in elaborate Gothic script, Lizia. When people online saw the photo, they thought it was a prank. But it wasn't. He did it willingly, and proudly said it was a symbol of true love. What made it even crazier, the woman didn't just allow it. She said she was touched by the gesture. A few days later, they announced their engagement online. For a moment, it looked like a strange kind of love story. Two people who found each other and decided to prove it in the most extreme way imaginable. But love, as always, had other plans. A few months later, they broke up. And there he was, walking around with a permanent reminder of a relationship that lasted less than the time it takes most couples to plan a first vacation. When asked about it later, he said, "It's fine. She will always be a part of my story." Tattoo removal experts called it one of the worst impulsive love tattoos they'd ever seen. Some said it would take years and thousands of dollars to remove. But maybe the saddest part is how familiar it feels. Because while most people don't go as far as inking someone's name across their face, plenty have done something irreversible in the name of love, something they later wish they could undo. It's proof that when it comes to romance, logic isn't the first casualty, judgment is. And if there's one universal truth in all these stories, it's that when humans fall in love, they often fall hard, fast, and a little bit whack. On our eighth story for today, it's one of the most jaw-dropping displays of pettiness love has ever inspired. The woman who faked her own wedding to make her ex jealous. Meet Sarah Villard, a fitness influencer from Germany who went viral after pulling off one of the most elaborate acts of emotional revenge the internet has ever seen. After her ex broke up with her, Sarah decided she wouldn't just move on. She would make him regret everything. So, she hired a photographer, rented a wedding dress, booked a luxury venue, got her friends to play guests, and even hired a fake groom. Then she posted the pictures online, smiling, holding hands with her husband, surrounded by flowers and champagne, captioned, "Yes." I said yes. Within hours, her ex saw the photos. And just as she hoped, he texted her, confused, heartbroken, asking if it was true. Of course, it wasn't. It was all staged. Every photo, every video, every detail meticulously planned to make one person think she'd completely moved on. And here's the kicker. She admitted later that she didn't do it to move on. She did it to hurt him the way he hurt her. The internet was divided. Some called her a genius. Others called her completely unhinged. But everyone agreed. That essay level of emotional theater most of us couldn't even dream of pulling off. Sarah later said she laughed about it afterward and didn't regret it. But she also admitted something darker, that it didn't really make her feel better. It felt powerful, she said, but also empty. I realized I was still giving him all my energy. And that's the brutal truth about stunts like this. They look victorious on the surface, but deep down, they're just another way of staying stuck. Still, you can't deny the creativity. Faking a wedding just to make an ex jealous? That's Shakespearean drama in the age of Instagram. And it's proof that when it comes to love, humans don't just lose their minds. Sometimes, they rent a wedding hall to prove it. On our ninth story for today, it's one of those tales that's equal parts tragic, desperate, and completely absurd. The man who spent his life savings to buy billboards begging his ex to take him back. His name was Jeff Gates, a 49-year-old from the UK who became a global headline after he poured his entire savings, nearly £20,000, into a campaign to win back his former partner. After his girlfriend left him, Jeff couldn't accept it. He said he woke up every morning thinking of ways to prove his love. But instead of flowers or letters or heartfelt apologies, Jeff went big, really big. He bought billboards. All over his hometown, giant red signs appeared overnight with the words, "I love you, Sharon. Please come back." No last names. No contact info. Just heartbreak on display for thousands of strangers every day. At first, people thought it was an ad for a movie or a publicity stunt. But no, it was 100% real. Jeff told reporters, "I just wanted to show her how serious I am. I wanted her to know I'd do anything for her." Unfortunately, Sharon didn't take him back. In fact, she told the media she found the whole thing embarrassing and invasive. Jeff, however, didn't regret it. He said he needed to try everything before letting go. Psychologists later described the act as performative desperation, a public attempt to rewrite rejection into a grand romantic gesture. But in reality, it became a case study in how love can make people completely lose perspective. Imagine walking past a massive billboard of your own heartbreak every day, watching traffic slow down so strangers can take photos of your pain. It's the kind of moment that makes you both laugh and wince. Because while Jeff's story is extreme, it's also deeply human. That universal urge to fight for love, even when it's already lost. Love makes us dream, it makes us hope, and sometimes it makes us buy billboards we can't afford. And that's exactly why, once again, humans are whack. On our 10th story for today, it's one of those moments that makes you question both logic and love at the same time. The woman who broke into a zoo to steal a penguin for her boyfriend. In 2012, a 23-year-old woman from South Africa decided that flowers and chocolates just weren't enough. Her boyfriend loved penguins, so she came up with what she thought was the most romantic idea ever. She'd get him one. So, late one night, she snuck into a local zoo, cut through the fence, and made her way to the penguin enclosure. She managed to grab a young penguin, wrapped it in her jacket, and took it home. She even gave it a name, Poppy. For 2 days, she kept the penguin in her bathtub, feeding it sardines and taking pictures to surprise her boyfriend on social media. Her post read, "When you love someone, you go the extra mile." But that extra mile landed her in serious trouble. The zoo discovered the missing penguin almost immediately. Security cameras caught her on tape, and police tracked her down within 48 hours. When officers arrived, they found the penguin alive, but dehydrated, confused, and badly stressed. She told police she didn't mean any harm, that it was just a romantic gesture. But animal welfare experts said her actions could have easily killed the bird. Penguins rely on specialized diets, specific water temperatures, and flock behavior to survive. The penguin was returned to the zoo, where it thankfully recovered. As for the woman, she was fined, banned from the zoo, and unsurprisingly, dumped by her boyfriend shortly after. And when reporters asked her what she thought of the whole thing, she said, "I just wanted to do something special." It's stories like these that perfectly sum up how far humans will go when emotion takes over reason. Because love can inspire poetry, passion, and sacrifice. But it can also inspire a midnight penguin heist. And that's why no matter how many episodes we make, the conclusion never changes. Humans are absolutely, unquestionably whack. Before we wrap up today's episode, it's been another wild ride through the strange, emotional, and completely baffling things humans do in the name of love. From robbing banks to impress a girlfriend, to faking entire weddings, tattooing names after one date, and yes, stealing penguins. We've seen just how far people will go when reason takes a back seat to emotion. Love can be beautiful, tragic, or completely ridiculous, and that's exactly what makes it so human. Now it's your turn. Which of today's stories made you stop and think, wow, people really do that? Or maybe, which one secretly made you laugh? Tell us in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is in your country right now. It is always amazing to see how far this Humans Are Whack family has spread across the world. And if you're new here, welcome to the madness. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help us grow this channel and keep uncovering more unbelievable true stories every week. Because as long as there are humans on Earth, there will always be new, whack stories to tell. Until next time, stay curious, stay human, and remember, love might make the world go round, but it also makes us do the dumbest things imaginable.